Welcome to Dad's Pure Revenge. If you believe a father's most sacred job is protecting his children, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me where you're watching from. Every comment helps this story reach a father who needs it. The last time I saw my daughter smiling, she was in the passenger seat of a brand new Honda Civic, a trunk full of new clothes, heading off to a private art institute upstate. 4 months later, I found her sitting on a milk crate outside a discount grocery store in South Toledo, holding a baby begging strangers for formula. My name is Arthur Vance. I'm 52. For 26 years, I've managed operations for a freight line out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. My daughter Maya isn't the kind of kid who asks for help. When her mother died of lymphoma in 2018, Maya was 14. She didn't break. She learned her mother's recipes, kept our family running, left me plates of dinner with notes that said eat first, work can wait. She held our house together while I tried to keep the lights on. My biggest flaw was avoiding conflict. After my wife died, the silence at home was unbearable. So when I met Brenda 3 years later at a Chamber of Commerce mixer, her loud, decisive confidence felt like a lifeline. I thought I was bringing structure back into our lives. What I actually did was hand our family over to a woman who saw my daughter as an obstacle between her son and easy money. Brenda's son, Preston, 22, didn't work, didn't study, drove a restored El Camino. I paid the repair bills on more times than I'd like to admit. To Brenda, he was a misunderstood genius who just needed capital. Tuesday, November 17th, I was in Toledo for a 3-day logistics audit. Freezing rain, the kind that comes right before winter locks in. My wiper blade tore, so I pulled into a discount plaza to grab a replacement. Walking toward the entrance, I heard a voice, soft, raspy, shaking. "Please, sir, I don't need cash, just a can of formula, that's all." I turned around. A girl sat against the brick wall in a denim jacket 3 sizes too big, holding a bundle wrapped in a faded yellow blanket. Matted hair, hollow cheeks, blue lips. It was Maya. My daughter, who was supposed to be in a high-rise apartment in Manhattan, was sitting in the mud in Toledo, begging for baby formula. I dropped everything in my hands. She looked up and her face crumpled. She didn't run, she didn't hide, she just sobbed. "Dad, asterisk," she whispered. "Dad, please don't look at me." I fell to my knees on the wet asphalt and pulled her in. I could feel her collarbones through that jacket. In her arms, a newborn blinked up at the gray sky. "Who is this?" I asked. "This is Lily asterisk," she cried. "She's 3 weeks old, Dad." They dumped me here. They took everything. If this is hitting close to home, take a second and hit subscribe. It helps me keep sharing these stories. I carried them both to my truck, cranked the heat, and drove straight to urgent care. While a nurse wrapped Lily in a warm blanket and brought Maya hot broth, the story came out, and every sentence felt like a blow to my chest. 5 months earlier, Maya found out she was pregnant. The father vanished the moment he saw the test. Terrified, she went to Brenda because I was away on a dispatch run in Texas. Brenda never called me. Instead, she sat Maya down and told her the stress would give me another heart attack. I'd had a scare 2 years before that I'd disown her, that she was ruining my shot at a peaceful retirement. Then Brenda offered a solution. Her sister supposedly ran a housing shelter for young mothers in Toledo. Brenda would cover expenses, transfer tuition money for medical bills, get Maya a new phone so the baby's father couldn't find her. She took Maya's phone, handed her a $75 burner, and put her on a bus. There was no shelter, no sister, just a rundown rooming house owned by a friend of Preston's. For 4 months, Maya lived behind a lock that didn't work, stretching what little money she had. Every time she called asking for me, Brenda told her I was furious, that I'd have police remove her if she came home. 2 weeks after Lily was born, Preston showed up, loaded her bags into the El Camino, drove her to that parking lot, handed her $20, and left. "She told me you hated me, Dad," Maya whispered. "She said you never wanted to see my face again." I sat there holding her cold hands, and the rage inside me wasn't loud. It was cold and heavy, settling low in my spine. My years of keeping the peace hadn't brought peace. They'd let a monster isolate my motherless daughter and throw her onto the street with an infant. I called my district manager and took 4 weeks of emergency leave. Then I called Clinton Webb, an old friend who ran a family law practice back home. He listened to the whole story without a word, taking notes on a legal pad. When Maya finished, he set his pen down and said 3 words, "We have her." Brenda had made one catastrophic mistake. She'd forged my signature on tuition withdrawals from the educational trust I'd set up for Maya after her mother died. 6 times, $42,000 total. None of it went to New York. None of it went to Maya's care. 35,000 had gone into an LLC in Preston's name, a crypto scheme that collapsed 3 weeks earlier, wiping out every cent. The remaining 7,000 bought new living room furniture and a down payment on a boat trailer. Brenda had stripped my daughter of her inheritance, lied about her existence, and left her freezing in a parking lot, all to bankroll her son's failures. My first instinct was to drive home and throw her clothes on the lawn. Clinton stopped me. "If you do that now, she files for divorce, claims spousal support, fights you for half your pension and the house. We don't want a messy fight where she gets to play the victim. We want a surgical resolution." So I went home Friday evening and acted like nothing had happened. Brenda sat on the couch with a glass of wine, watching a renovation show, barely glancing at me. "How was Toledo, honey? Did the audit go okay?" "Fine," I said, setting down my briefcase. "Lots of discrepancies. Takes time to sort out who belongs where." She mentioned Preston was coming Sunday to talk about a new business idea, might need a small loan. I told her Sunday sounded fine. "Let's make it a big dinner." For 2 days, I lived a double life. During the day, I visited Maya and Lily in a short-term rental I'd leased near the clinic, bought a crib, diapers, clothes, sat by the window while my granddaughter slept. Feeling something steady return to my chest for the first time since my wife died. At night, I sat across from Brenda, listening to her talk about curtains, writing down every word, every date, every lie in a pocket notebook. Sunday, November 22nd, roast chicken on the table. Preston arrived in a brand-new leather jacket, no doubt bought with what was left of Maya's stolen trust fund. Between bites, he made his pitch. A logistics venture, guaranteed win, just needed 15 grand. "Mom said you could pull from Maya's college fund since she's clearly not using it." Brenda sipped her wine. "It really is smart, Arthur. Maya made her choice to walk away from this family. No point letting that money sit there when Preston can build something real." I set my fork down. The sound of metal on porcelain was the only noise in the room. "You're right, Brenda, asterisk," I said. "Capital shouldn't just sit there." I pulled a manila envelope from my jacket and laid it on the table between the salad and the chicken. "What's that?" Brenda's eyes narrowed. "Accounting summary from First National. Certified copies of the withdrawal signatures. $42,000, 6 separate forgeries." Brenda's hand froze on her glass. Preston stopped chewing. "Arthur, what are you talking about? We discussed those transfers. I didn't sign them," I said. "My signature was forged 6 times. "Now wait a minute," Preston started. "Sit down," I said, flat. Quiet, he sat. "I spent Tuesday in Toledo, asterisk," I continued, looking straight at Brenda. "I found my daughter in the freezing rain, begging strangers for baby formula because she hadn't eaten a full meal in 2 days. You told her I hated her. You told her I'd disown her. You put a scared 19-year-old on a bus, dumped her in a slum, and let your son drop her on a sidewalk like trash, so the 2 of you could gamble away her mother's legacy on fake currency." Brenda went white. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. "Arthur, listen to me," she finally stammered, reaching for my arm. "I was trying to protect you. Your heart, asterisk, don't touch me. If you're enjoying how this unfolds, drop a like and leave a comment. It means everything to this channel." I opened the envelope and laid out 3 sets of papers. "Option A," I said, sliding the first toward her. "A formal criminal complaint for bank fraud, identity theft, and grand larceny, with a signed affidavit from Maya detailing the coercion and abandonment. Clinton Webb is standing by right now. 5 minutes and this is filed with the county prosecutor by morning. Grand larceny carries a mandatory minimum sentence. You're both on those transfers. You both go down." Preston's jaw dropped. "Mom, you said he wouldn't check." Brenda's hands shook. "Arthur, please, we're family." "We are not family," I said. "Option B is under it." I slid the second document across. "A binding confession of judgment and a quitclaim deed. You sign over your entire interest in this house immediately. You relinquish any claim to my retirement, my savings, spousal support, anything. and Preston signs a promissory note, legally binding him to repay the $42,000 to Maya's trust at $800 a month. Secured by a lien on his car and his assets. That's extortion, Preston shouted, slamming the table. That's leniency, I said. You have 4 minutes to decide whether you'd rather sign these papers or explain to a judge why you left a teenage girl and a newborn on a Toledo sidewalk. The room went silent except for the grandfather clock ticking in the hall. Preston's phone buzzed uselessly on the table. Neither of them looked at it. They both understood if the police pulled the thread on that crypto LLC, their whole story would unravel in days. Brenda picked up the pen with trembling fingers. She didn't apologize. She didn't look at me. She signed every line, then passed the pen to her son. Preston pressed so hard the ink bled through the paper. Now, asterisk, I said, sliding the signed documents into my briefcase. You have 2 hours to pack and leave my house. If either of you comes near Maya, my granddaughter, or me again, option A goes straight to the prosecutor. I didn't watch them pack. I drove to the rental apartment, picked up Maya and Lily and brought them home. By 8 that night, the driveway was empty, Brenda's closet was cleared out, and the El Camino was gone. The house felt quiet, but for the first time in 3 years it didn't feel heavy. It felt clean. Over the next 6 months, everything moved with quiet precision. The quitclaim deed was recorded at the courthouse. The house was mine and Maya's alone. Preston made his first 3 payments on time. His mother had to take a night job at a storage facility to help him cover it. But that stopped being my problem the moment they walked out my door. I haven't spoken to either of them since that Sunday dinner. Maya didn't go back to New York. She didn't need to. She enrolled in a graphic design program at the State University 10 minutes from home. Every morning I make coffee, pack her lunch, and hold Lily while Maya gets ready for class. Last night I was sitting on the back porch listening to the wind move through the oak trees. Maya came out with 2 mugs of chamomile tea, sat beside me, and looked out over the yard. Dad asterisk, she said softly, "Thank you for coming to Toledo." I looked at my daughter, color back in her face, light back in her eyes, and took a sip of my tea. I was always coming, Maya, I told her. I just took the long way around. I never got a tearful confession out of Brenda. I never got her on her knees begging forgiveness. I didn't need it. Real peace doesn't come from making someone admit what they did. It comes from building a wall high enough that they can never touch your family again, and then turning around to focus on the people standing safely inside it with you. Thank you for listening to Dad's Pure Revenge. If this story reminded you what a parent will do to protect their child, hit like, subscribe, and tell me your thoughts below. Stay strong. Protect your family. I'll see you in the next one.